My entitled sister tried to sabotage my dream business, but I had the last laugh when her own schemes backfired spectacularly. I'm still reeling from everything that's happened, and I honestly don't even know where to begin. It's a long story, filled with years of resentment, family drama, and a sweet, sweet victory that I'm still savoring. I just need to get it all out there and maybe get some outside perspective, even though I think I know how most people will react. Let's start with my sister, Clara. She's always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. From the moment she was born, it felt like I was relegated to second place, a shadow in her brilliant light. She was always prettier, smarter, more charming, at least according to our mother and father. I was the quiet, artistic one, the dreamer, the one who spent her time sketching and imagining instead of chasing popularity or academic accolades. This favoritism wasn't subtle, it was blatant. If Clara got a B, it was a tragedy. If I got an A, it was expected, or worse, dismissed as a fluke. Birthday presents were always more extravagant for her, her achievements lauded publicly, while mine were met with polite nods, if they were acknowledged at all. I learned early on not to expect much and to keep my dreams close to my chest. Despite all of this, I tried for years to have a good relationship with her. I truly did. I admired her ambition, even if it often felt like it came at my expense. I cheered her on when she got into a prestigious university, even though I secretly longed for a similar opportunity but knew our parents wouldn't fund it for me the way they did for her. I even helped her study for exams, tutored her in subjects she struggled with, all while juggling my own part-time jobs to save for my future. I thought, naively, that if I was supportive enough, kind enough, she would eventually reciprocate, and we could have a genuine sisterly bond. I was wrong. Clara thrived in the corporate world after graduation. She quickly climbed the ladder, landing impressive positions and making a lot of money. Our parents were ecstatic, constantly parading her achievements around, comparing me to her. "Why can't you be more like Clara?" became a common refrain in our household. Meanwhile, I was pursuing my passion, baking. I'd always loved it, finding solace and joy in creating beautiful and delicious pastries. It was my escape, my art, my dream. I started small, selling custom cakes and cookies to friends and family, and word slowly began to spread. I saved every penny, meticulously planning and dreaming of opening my own bakery. This wasn't just a hobby, it was my life's ambition. My parents, of course, weren't thrilled with my chosen path. "When are you going to get a real job, honey?" my mother would often ask, a thinly veiled judgment in her voice. Clara, ever the corporate shark, would chime in with condescending advice about scaling up or market analysis, always making me feel small and amateurish. She saw my baking as a cute little pastime, something to amuse myself with until I eventually came to my senses and joined the real world, her world, presumably. This dismissal fueled my determination even more. I wanted to prove them all wrong, especially Clara. Years passed, and my little baking business, Sweet Escapes, slowly but steadily grew. I started renting a small commercial kitchen space, hired a part-time assistant, and even began catering small events. It was hard work, long hours, and endless sacrifices, but I loved every minute of it. I poured my heart and soul into every pastry, every cake, every customer interaction. My reputation for quality and creativity began to spread beyond my immediate circle, and I even started getting inquiries from local cafes and restaurants. It was exhilarating. Then came the opportunity of a lifetime. A prime retail space in a vibrant, up-and-coming neighborhood became available. It was perfect, large windows, high foot traffic, and just the right size for a cozy bakery with a few tables. The rent was steep, but I had saved diligently, and with a small business loan, I knew I could make it work. This was it, my chance to finally open my dream bakery, a brick-and-mortar manifestation of all my years of hard work and passion. I was ecstatic, practically vibrating with excitement that I shared the news with my family, hoping, perhaps foolishly, for some genuine support. My father gave a non-committal grunt. My mother expressed her concern about the financial risks, subtly implying I was being irresponsible. And Clara. She just smiled, a strangely knowing smile that sent a shiver down my spine. "That's ambitious, dear," she said, her tone dripping with fake sweetness. I brushed it off, too caught up in my own excitement to dwell on her usual negativity. I started the arduous process of securing the lease, getting permits, designing the interior, and planning the grand opening. It was a whirlwind of activity, but I was loving every second. I pictured my little bakery, filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and coffee, customers laughing, enjoying my creations. It was going to be everything I had ever dreamed of. About a month before my scheduled grand opening, I received a devastating call from my landlord. He sounded apologetic, almost embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, but there's been a change of plans," he began. "Another tenant made a much more compelling offer, and we've decided to go with them." My heart sank, but we had an agreement. I've already signed the preliminary paperwork. I protested, my voice trembling. He mumbled something about a better long-term fit and hung up. I was shattered. All my hard work, all my savings, all my dreams, crumbling before my eyes. I felt a crushing sense of despair that I spent days in a fog, trying to figure out what had happened. It just didn't make sense. I had been so close. I called other agents, desperately searching for another suitable location, but nothing came close. The market was tight, and prime spots were rare. Just when I was about to give up, my assistant, Sarah, who had become a close friend, called me. She had been doing some digging, reaching out to her contacts in commercial real estate. "You're not going to believe this," she said, her voice tight with anger. "The new tenant in your dream space? It's Clara." My blood ran cold. Clara, my sister, the one who had given me that knowing smile, the one who had always dismissed my dreams. It was a betrayal so profound, so personal, that it took my breath away. She wasn't opening a bakery, of course. She was opening some kind of trendy, overpriced cafe, targeting a completely different demographic, using her corporate connections and a seemingly endless supply of our parents' money. She had deliberately swooped in, outbid me, and stolen my dream location. Knowing full well what it meant to me, I confronted her, my voice shaking with rage and hurt. "How could you do this to me, Clara? You knew how much that space meant to me. You knew this was my dream." She just shrugged, a cold, indifferent look on her face. "It's business, darling. Nothing personal. You snooze, you lose. Besides, that little bakery idea of yours was never going to make it big. I'm just helping you face reality." Her words were a dagger to my heart. She had done it out of spite, out of jealousy, out of a need to constantly one-up me, to keep me in my place, forever the overshadowed little sister. Our parents, when I tearfully told them, just brushed it off. "Clara's a smart businesswoman," my father said, as if that justified her actions. "You should learn from her, not resent her." My mother echoed his sentiments, chastising me for being too emotional and not understanding how the real world works. It was the ultimate gaslighting, making me feel like I was the one in the wrong for being hurt by my sister's blatant sabotage. I was devastated, but something inside me shifted. The pain turned into a burning resolve. I wouldn't let her win. I wouldn't let her crush my spirit. If anything, her actions ignited a fire in me that had been dormant for too long. I decided then and there that I would not only open my bakery, but I would make it a resounding success, a testament to my resilience, a giant middle finger to Clara and anyone who doubted me. I swallowed my pride and reached out to every contact I had, every friend, every former customer. I told them what had happened, not in a pity-party way, but as a rallying cry. I explained my vision, my passion, and my determination to make Sweet Escapes a reality, even if I had to start from scratch. The outpouring of support was incredible. People offered to help with renovations, spread the word, even invest small amounts. It was humbling and empowering. Through a stroke of luck and the tireless efforts of Sarah, we found a smaller, slightly less ideal space a few blocks away from Clara's new cafe. It needed a lot more work, and it was in a less glamorous part of the neighborhood, but it was mine. I poured every ounce of my energy into transforming it. I painted, sanded, decorated, often working late into the night, fueled by coffee and sheer stubbornness. I embraced the challenge, turning the initial setback into an opportunity to create something truly unique and personal. Word of Clara's underhanded tactics had, predictably, started to circulate. The local business community, which prided itself on supporting small, independent ventures, was not impressed. Many knew me and my reputation, and they saw Clara's move as a cheap, corporate takeover attempt. There was a quiet but palpable shift in sentiment. My grand opening, though modest, was a triumph. Friends, family, the few who still supported me, and curious neighbors flocked to Sweet Escapes. The aroma of fresh pastries filled the air, and the cozy, welcoming atmosphere I had painstakingly created resonated with everyone. I focused on quality ingredients, unique recipes, and genuine customer service. I made sure every customer felt valued. Every pastry was perfect. Clara's Cafe, the Urban Nook, opened a week later with a much grander, more expensive launch. She had flashy marketing, a sleek, minimalist design, and prices that made my eyes water. But something was missing. It felt cold, impersonal, like a chain coffee shop trying to be something it wasn't. The food was mediocre, mass-produced, and the staff seemed disengaged. It was all style, no substance. For the first few months, it was a battle. Clara had the prime location, the big marketing budget, and the initial buzz. But my little bakery had heart. I worked harder than I ever had in my life. I introduced new items, offered loyalty programs, and engaged directly with my customers, building a loyal community around Sweet Escapes. I started getting rave reviews online, people praising not only my delicious treats but also the warm, friendly atmosphere and my personal touch. Then, things started to unravel for Clara. The initial hype around the Urban Nook began to fade. Customers started complaining about the high prices, the bland food, and the indifferent service. The corporate sheen couldn't hide the lack of genuine passion. Local newspapers, which had initially covered both our openings, started featuring Sweet Escapes more prominently, highlighting my inspiring comeback story and the quality of my products. They painted Clara's Cafe as an example of a soulless corporate entity trying to push out local businesses. But the real turning point came with a specific incident. Clara, in her infinite wisdom and disregard for local talent, decided to source all her pastries and baked goods from a large, industrial supplier. One day, a batch of her croissants was found to be stale, almost inedible. A local food blogger, who had been a staunch supporter of Sweet Escapes, wrote a scathing review of the Urban Nook, detailing the stale pastries and the overall disappointing experience. The post went viral, and the comment section was filled with people sharing similar negative experiences. The next day, another blow. A customer at the Urban Nook, known for being a bit of a local celebrity and food critic, found a foreign object, a piece of plastic, in her expensive artisanal sandwich. She posted about it on all her social media platforms, complete with photos. The internet, as it often does, exploded. Health inspectors were called, and a full investigation was launched. The Urban Nook's reputation, already shaky, plummeted overnight. Meanwhile, Sweet Escapes was thriving. People were flocking to my bakery, not just for the delicious food, but for the authentic experience, the story of resilience, and the sense of community. I was overwhelmed with joy and gratitude. I still worked incredibly hard, but now it was a joyful effort, no longer tainted by the shadow of Clara's negativity. The final, glorious nail in Clara's coffin came about 6 months after our respective openings. The Urban Nook was hemorrhaging money. Her high overhead, combined with dwindling customer numbers and mounting negative publicity, meant she was operating at a massive loss. Her investors, who were mostly her corporate contacts and, of course, our parents, started pulling out. Our parents, who had poured a significant amount of their savings into Clara's venture, were facing serious financial trouble. The golden child, for the first time in her life, was failing spectacularly. I heard through the grapevine that she was desperately trying to sell the business, but no one was interested. The space, once my dream location, now had a toxic reputation. She had overpaid for the lease, invested in expensive, generic equipment, and tarnished the location's image. It was unsaleable. One afternoon, about a month ago, I was busy frosting a wedding cake when my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice was strained, almost pleading. "Clara, she's in a terrible situation, honey. The Urban Nook is going under. She's lost everything. Your father and I, we are in a bad spot too." She paused, then continued, her voice softer, almost hesitant. She was wondering if you might be willing to buy her out. Take over the lease, maybe even buy her equipment at a discount. You're doing so well, darling. It would be a lifesaver for her, and for us. I put down my piping bag, my hands suddenly still. I looked around my bustling, beloved Sweet Escapes, filled with happy customers, the air thick with the smell of cinnamon and sugar. Then I thought of Clara, her smirk, her cold words, her deliberate sabotage. I thought of all the years of being overlooked, dismissed, and actively undermined by her and our parents. A slow, triumphant smile spread across my face. "Mother," I said, my voice calm and clear, "tell Clara I'm not interested." My mother spluttered, tried to argue, but I held my ground. I built Sweet Escapes from the ground up, with my own 2 hands and every penny I earned. I did it against all odds, and despite Clara's best efforts to stop me. That space holds no appeal for me now. I've made my own success, in my own way, in my own perfect little bakery, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I hung up the phone feeling a liberation I hadn't experienced in years. The weight of all that past resentment, all the hurt, seemed to lift from my shoulders. It wasn't about revenge, not truly. It was about proving myself, and to everyone who had doubted me. It was about standing up for my dreams and showing that hard work, passion, and integrity ultimately triumph over malice and entitlement. Clara's cafe officially closed last week. The storefront now sits empty, a stark reminder of her failed venture. Our parents are indeed in a difficult financial situation, a consequence of their unwavering faith in Clara's genius and their willingness to enable her destructive behavior. They've been unusually quiet lately, and I haven't heard from Clara since that phone call. I imagine she's stewing in her own defeat. As for me, Sweet Escapes is flourishing. I'm already planning an expansion, looking to hire more staff, and considering opening another location. I still work hard, but now it's with a sense of pure joy and accomplishment. The bitter taste of my sister's betrayal has finally been replaced by the sweet taste of my own success. And that, I've realized, is the best revenge of all.